Why, hello and welcome back to Evil Genius 2 World Domination. Now, before we get down to business, there is a need for a little bit of a foreword here. We're not going to be continuing with the save from my first two videos. Those two videos were sponsored, and as part of the sponsorship, had certain requirements. This is a bit self-indulgent, I know, but we were playing on medium difficulty with Maximilian. Now, I don't intend to change up Maximilian, and I'll get to the reason why in just a moment, but we are going to be dialing up the difficulty. Furthermore, I have noticed over the last day or two that some people have been a little bit concerned about the difficulty curve with the game, specifically in regards to playing without the tutorial. Now, the tutorial does an amazing job of buffering and kind of like smoothing out your introduction to the game. You're gently introduced to the various dangers whilst building up your base, and by the time that the forces of justice have bared their claws fully, you already have a base that is probably in a good state to defend against them. Without the tutorial, you're just kind of thrown into the thick of it without a base, without real any kind of hand-holding, and the forces of justice can show up at any moment. So it is certainly more difficult, but it is very, very far from impossible. So I hope to dispel that concern for those of you who are worried about being able to play and just jump straight into it without having to have the somewhat on-rails tutorial leading the way. Now, with that, let's go ahead and create a new game. We're going to be playing with Maximilian, and part of the reason for that is, again, to illustrate that you definitely can get through on hard without the tutorial. We're going to be playing with one of the geniuses who is, in my opinion, the weakest in personal combat. I feel that Red Ivan and Zalika probably lead the geniuses in combat because both of them use ranged weapons. Emma is close behind, but she is primarily a melee genius. Maximilian, I mean, you know, he can get involved, but I feel that he's the least capable of them for various reasons. Now, Maximilian's abilities are train faster, instantly completes any minion training near Maximilian, and a larger workforce. Maximilian finds it a little bit easier to gather gold, and as a result can have a larger and more specialized workforce because he can afford to pay for them. As far as the island that we're going to be playing on, I see little reason to deviate from the island that I was playing in my first two videos, and there is a particular reason for that. Whilst every island is vulnerable to a specific force of justice, all of the others have backdoors, let's say. For example, down here, though you can't quite see it from this angle, there is a tiny little door down there that allows the forces of justice to get in through the rear of your base. Whereas the third island, more or less everyone has to come through the front door. There are some forces of justice and units who have special abilities that might allow them to bypass and just show up anywhere in your base, but that's true of all of them. This one is a little bit easier to control where the enemies are actually flooding in from, which I find very, very nice. I'm a big fan of heavily booby-trapped choke points, let's put it that way. Right, now with that, we're going to be turning off the tutorial. We're going to be playing on hard mode, though. A word to the wise, you can absolutely customize your experience. If you mostly like hard, but there's one or two things you want to dial back on, you can do that in here by just selecting everything and just having a few things just dialed down, or likewise dialed up if you want a little bit more challenge, but you don't want to take the whole massive, great leap to a whole new difficulty level. A challenge for the most diabolic genius, ideal for players looking for extra challenge. Force of Justice motto, we do what we must. Agents have neither the time or inclination to die easily, and gold is the rarest and most valuable resource on the planet. Wait a minute. I mean, honestly, I feel this is reasonable. Maximilian is all about prestige and being wealthy, and if it isn't hard to get, is it really that prestigious? That's the way we're going to be playing with it. Again, tutorial is disabled. We're playing on hard, so hopefully this will dispel some of the concerns about the difficulty of playing without the tutorial. Again, it is a little bit on rails, so honestly, I didn't mind it myself. But for those of you who are interested in seeing how to go about getting a base set up, I hope this little series is going to be for you.
So, boss, what do you think of your new lair? It's good, right?
It's got nothing in it.
There's something wrong about it. It's ugly. It's too yellow.
Also, it's empty.
Oh, I like it. It's bright, it's cheerful. It's the colour of our swell uniforms.
Which are the only things in my evil lair right now.
That's it. That's what's wrong with this place. I have to look at you.
Literally, they're the only things to look at.
Build me an inner sanctum. Use lots of gold.
Now, this is the first difference with not having the tutorial on, is it will just straight up tell you to build an inner sanctum. We're going to pause it there because there's a few things to look over. Now, first and foremost, no base, nothing at all. But unlike the tutorial, you're just thrown in, and because effectively it has completed all of the various steps, like it's unlocked all of the potential rooms that the tutorial would usually have led you through, and then kind of capped off the tutorial by saying build an inner sanctum, it just goes straight to the inner sanctum stage. However, you don't want to do that yet. That would be bad. You are not in a position yet to build an inner sanctum. So instead, let us focus on building a computer room. That is going to be our first and indeed one of the most important tasks. Now, each computer is 5 wide, so we're going to make it 7 wide. We might make it a little bit longer instead of... well, we don't need it to be too large right now. So let's just keep it fairly simple for the time being. We'll make it about that big. Now, the reason why you don't want to go too big early on is you simply don't have the money for it. That is the reality that we are faced with. Let's go ahead and build in a computer right about there. That should do nicely. We will make room for a second computer, but that's the only room that we're going to make there. And we'll make room for a door eventually. I like to have my corridors just kind of swing in a little bit rather than having the door right on top of the corridor. Now, the reason why we're building that first is because early on, we have no means of getting more money. Well, that's not entirely true. You can still sell these, and they do represent a decent bit of cash. But you do want to get yourself a proper income as quickly as you can. That means getting onto the world stage, because we are not there yet. And the reason why I only built one radio broadcaster is because we only have 5 power, and one of them uses 5 power. We didn't even build a door because that uses power. So the second thing we're going to be building will be a power room. Now, I can go ahead and start setting that up, but I'm not going to, for the time being, actually build it. Now, I believe these are 5 wide and 3 tall, so we could probably have the generator starting about there. Now, this room can afford to be a little bit larger, simply because I'm only going to get in here and start building it once we're ready. So we'll pop that there, and sure, we can pop down a third as well. We're going to need quite a lot of energy. We'll just build that out there and make some room behind me. There we go. I like to have room for our minions to walk around. Now, that is not going to be okay just yet. I want to see the green icon there once they finish building the room, just to show that they've already grabbed the money and they're going to be going to build the computer. So let's speed that up for a moment. Should see someone, hopefully, grabbing that. It looks like someone is already walking in there. Okay, that's interesting. Whilst you're in building mode, it doesn't look like you can actually see that they've confirmed and that they're going to be building that device. Okay, again, we're not going to place any doors down, though. So let's confirm that. And the first thing we need to do is get out there and place down our first criminal network. Now, one of the things to note, aside from which force of justice your lair is uniquely vulnerable to, it will tell you on the details when you're setting up the game, and I do apologize that I didn't really draw attention to this, that each force of justice will be more of a risk or less of a risk. Now, this particular lair is the only one that has a force of justice that is a low risk. Otherwise, it's just a mixture of medium or high risk. But Patriot is one of the lower risks for us, so let's just go ahead and set up a network. I do believe that some areas are a little bit better than others, but it's only by very small margins, so I don't really think it's too necessary to worry about that. But as soon as we've got the power in here, we'll set up a second radio broadcaster, which will be a big help. And while we're waiting on that, I'm just going to go ahead and sell a little bit of the items around here. Sure, that should be good enough. We'll go with all of that. There we go. Let's get those sold. That'll bring us a little bit more money. Now, you may have noticed that we have a vault, even though we don't actually have a vault. We started with a capacity of 40, and that is going to be respected, regardless whether we've built a vault, a vault or not. So early on, you don't actually need to waste your gold on building a place to put your gold. You can hold 40 there, but obviously 40 is a fairly paltry sum, especially for Maximilian. So we're going to want to get to the point where we can actually store more of that reasonably soon. But we've got a fairly tight list of priorities that we need to get done
At last,
fairly quickly.
Wunderbar.
Right, let's get you over here. I want you to stand right about there. We're going to go ahead and we're going to build a couple of items. First and foremost, I would like some more doors. One there should do. I would also, now that we've got a wee bit of power, like to pop down a trap or two. 2 for now, I'm going to say. That should be good. That's going to cost us quite a bit of cash, but it's going to be important. Now, I would very much like Maximilian to be looking this way, down the corridor. Right about there is perfect, Max. We'll leave you there. Now, the reason why I've done that is the genius can see through agent disguises. Your minions cannot. So, hopefully, Maximilian is going to be able to take care of de-disguising any agents who are trying to sneak into our base. That would be marvellous. And let's pop that there. And that will be this room all done. Now, I'm not going to pop down any other doors. The only reason we've got a door here is just to be another point of a new point where we can slow down potential agents from getting through. Just give us a little bit of extra time. Now, we will confirm that. Go ahead and get that going. Now that we've got our criminal network set up, we can go ahead and have a look. Now, we are going to be generating a little bit of heat just passively. We can get out there and make some extra money as well, and I do recommend you do that. Let's go ahead and send 3 workers for 30 minutes, and they'll just sit there. This will cause heat to go up a little bit faster, but then the next job we'll do is we'll pull that heat down. Now, the income, or indeed the heat reduction, that happens passively over time. It kind of trickles in. It's not just once it finishes, you get a lump sum of money or a lump reduction of heat. You are constantly, very slowly or quickly, depending on which particular job you've gone through, generating money or reducing heat. Now, typically speaking, if you go for the 30-minute heat reduction, as long as you are happy with having that area, you can't do any more jobs there because they're already doing a job, that will be more than enough to pull down the heat in that area quite some time. So generally speaking, that's what I go for. Now, we are going to want the next room for us will be... we're going to want a barracks, and we're also going to want a mess hall to help with our units. So let's go ahead and build out a little... Now, we don't need the corridors to be huge at this point. You only want corridors big if you wide if you're intending to place down traps in them. You can get away with fairly narrow corridors otherwise. I would like this to come all the way over here, and perhaps we could squeeze in a little bunk room down here. Now, you don't need these to be particularly large, and generally speaking, you don't want them to be. You just want them big enough. Okay, maybe we could afford to squeeze these a little bit closer. Now, Max does have a lot of minions, so having a decent amount of beds is going to be an important one for Maximilian. All right, let's make sure that we've got a door there and connect that up to the corridor. That should do nicely. Let's get that on the go. Now, have we got agents already? We do. Okay, so they're going to start showing up. Right. Immediately, I want them to be
that intruder
distracted.
found and distracted quickly.
Now, this is also why Maximilian is in that
Minions,
corridor.
locate and distract that intruder
As
right
long as your
now.
minions are kind of milling around, they should see them, and Maximilian will de-disguise them, and they can deal with that fairly quickly. Now, another thing about the corridors here is, right now, generally speaking, we want more people. That's just where we're going to be at for a little while. And we can happily achieve that by popping down something like this. You don't need to make discrete rooms in this game at all. We're going to have our lockers, not in the bunk room, but instead just out in the corridors. Yes, I'm going to put a decor item down because I like decor items. There we go. Right, now unfortunately, the agents are going to go straight through here, which does cause us a little bit of a problem, but hopefully we can get everything under control fairly quickly. There we are. Now, money is going to start moving in, but we've got quite a few more things that we need to build. So this is our first little item. We're going to have some lockers. We're going to have a place where our minions can sleep. These are the only... Well, actually, the power room and the computer room are the only places where the forces of justice will consider it hot. They'll consider those heat-generating items and evidence of our ill deeds. So we want to make sure that if they do get that far, they need to be taken out, not just escorted out of the premises. Now, the next thing that we can do is we want an eatery, and by the same token, we can build the eatery over here. Do I want to make this a little bit wider? Possibly. Let's see what we can do. Pop that down there, and go ahead and pop these in place. Probably want it a little bit wider, actually. Let's go ahead and expand that out. There we go. Now this should fit in fairly comfortably. There we go. I could lead it back a little bit more. I don't really have anything else to put in this space, so sure, we'll go ahead and we'll take it back just a tad. And then we're going to add some decor items. Specifically, I want some seats. So I can see when my minions have nothing to do, because they're just going to mill around and sit in those seats. There we go. Let's confirm that. And that's going to cover the ability for my minions to restore their energy. Now, we've got a bunch of... Oh, right, my minions just lagged it. Oh, no. Actually, we're already good. We're already casting some of them off. Pop. Yes, I know. I was literally watching it. But that is another reason why you want to trap early. Because if you're not paying attention, you would at least get a trap is triggered. A notification. Now, hopefully, someone will notice you guys and escort you out before you see anything you're not meant to see. For example, you might spot one of them. Maybe not. Another thing you can do to try and deal with the forces of justice is give them lots of doors to open. It's very similar to the original game in that sense. They can't help themselves but to open doors and have a peek. So give them lots of doors to open that go nowhere. I don't know if, as with the original game, it does decrease heat if agents get to your lair and find nothing and then leave. But if they waste a load of time wandering down random corridors, it just gives your minions more time to catch them. So that's one of the ways that I would use to try and deal with that. Right, the next thing that we're going to need, we do need a prison, because to get any advanced minions, we're going to need to be able to pop them in a room with no windows or doors, and then interrogate them. Right, let's pop this down. Now, I forget the size of this room, but we want to try and play it cool, especially with anything that uses power. This uses 5, this uses 2, so we definitely need these to be a little bit lower. Actually, let's make this room ever so slightly wider. There we are. And slide this back to about here. There we go. And then this one can exist there. There we are. I think that should be fine. Do I want my minions to be able to watch? Sure, they can just kind of have a break in there, just, you know. I was going to say taunt them, but honestly, I don't think my regular workers do taunt them. They just kind of sit there and just chat about whatever. It might actually bore our prisoners more than taunt them about their fate. Right, there we go. That should be good. Now, do we have anything else I can sell? Sadly, no. But we are making money on the world stage, so that's fine. We do now have a second computer as well, so I can go ahead and set up a new area. Now, from what I can tell, the moment you start being active on the world stage in a location is when that location starts sending you agents. So if we're active in just one location, then that specific force of justice will be the only one sending us anyone. And I believe that each force of justice has its own unique timer for when, like, so for example, whilst they've sent investigators, they're not now sending more investigators or soldiers. They've just got that group of investigators there. But if I've got activities going on in every region, then every force of justice could individually send me someone to be looking into my base. So generally speaking, I like to try and scout out one entire region at a time. Now that's completely anecdotal. I don't know if that is indeed the case, but it is something to bear in mind. There we go. They got a little bit further this time. But, let's continue to escort them out, please, and thank you. The resolve is slowly dropping. It will hopefully drop quite far. Now, if they do get pummeled by my traps enough, they will start fighting when someone tries to lead them off. So that is a bit of a problem, and we do need to be aware of that one. Currently, we don't have anywhere for us to deal with that, so the next thing I guess we're going to do is we're going to need a little bit more power, and indeed we're going to need an incinerator. We'll pop an incinerator in here, I guess. I think they're 3 wide. It might be a little bit larger than that, actually. No, I think that should be fine. Let's pop this down around there. We'll have 2 extra power plants. 1 here, 1 here. I don't like having them right next to each other. I like my minions to be able to walk all the way around objects. There we are. I don't mind if one side is covered, but typically, well, or 2 in the case of this one, but I like there to be at least 2 ways to interact with an object.
You're running out of gold.
Let's actually drive this back just a little bit further.
World.
I am already working on it. There we go. It's going to be rather expensive to build, but it's going to be necessary because we will see agents. Ooh, you need to not be there anymore before you spot something you shouldn't. There we go. Good. And is anyone else wandering back? Yeah, their resolve is going down quite quickly. And there we go. They've gone ahead and disguised themselves, but they should be easily spotted by Maximilian.
A new criminal network has been established.
Perfect. Excellent timing. Now, which job are we currently running on? Pain and Gain. A stained glass window in an unpopular church has recently been valued at a ludicrous sum. How about we pose as renovators and steal it? Piece by piece, really? Wow. Robbing from a church. My goodness, Maximilian. We'll go with the 30-minute one. Golden Delicious. You mean to tell me that despite their name, these apples aren't made of gold? Whatever, let's steal them and watch the market crumble. Really? A crumble joke about apples?
Has been triggered.
Fine. The real diabolical scheme is the amount of puns that Maximilian is going to throw into all of this. Right, let's go and have a look. How's things going? Okay, you should easily be dealt with. You've already been de-disguised, so hopefully someone can come along and deal with that. Now, one of the problems with our traps is we don't yet actually have any means. Oh dear, you've re-disguised because it is on a cooldown. So let's get Maximilian down there. We've still got to keep an eye on it from time to time. There we are. Maximilian, if you could just stand about here.
Evil minds think alike.
There we go. In fact, we might actually be okay to have Maximilian just there for now because there's nothing else in this corridor that the forces of justice would really care about. So we might want to just hang tight to that for a little bit. Now, it's going to be a little while before we have enough cash, sadly, so we can safely speed things along. Let me just check on minion training. What is the maximum capacity? It's 26. We can increase that fairly easily. And this is something I will make use of frequently. Just little locker rooms just dotting the various passageways and halls. I wonder if I could shave that down to just one tile wide. Maybe. Little eateries and the likes here and indeed there, just to take care of everything. Now, you are probably going to get plonked by a trap. Yep, you are getting very low on health now, actually. How are you guys doing? Your resolve is still fairly low, but whilst they are here and unwilling to leave, Patriot can't send more agents our way, which I'm very happy with for the time being. There we are. Power is at least no longer a problem, but we still need to wait on getting the holding cell up and running and the incinerator, because eventually someone is going to die. That's just the way it's going to go. Whether it be one of our minions or one of the agents,
New optional
it doesn't really
objective
matter too
available.
much. But it looks like our agents are going to be led out. I wonder if they have a time limit in here or not. Because at this point, all of their resolves have been reduced completely. But I wonder if they would have left anyway once that yacht pulled up. That is definitely something to be aware of. Now, how long have we got on this? We're only 50% of the way through. It's going to take us a little while, but heat is gradually increasing. Now, if we have a quick peek down here, that is going to take 5,000. We're actually almost there. So whilst we're waiting on that, let's go ahead and check in my optional objectives. Have we got anything that we can go for? That one's a bit of a long-term one. We'll eventually get that one. Quite a lot of them are complete a scheme in a certain region or complete scouting a certain region. We need to get a training room set up. We want more mess hall tiles. Okay, well, I'll have a look at that one. I can definitely consider putting down another area for a mess hall. But with those two, I don't really think there's much more need. That being said, it has got quite a lot of people in there, and this would give me a little bit of money, nice and early. So maybe. All right, let's expand this down a little bit further. I'm going to say that will be our first room by itself. We don't need more than that.
Not
And
enough gold to complete
then,
this construction.
actually, I'll pop down this right
Not
there.
enough gold to complete this
Fine.
construction.
We will be okay. Don't worry. I would like more minions. So, if we go ahead and pop
Not
down
enough gold to
a
complete
couple
this
more
construction.
lockers. Oops.
Not enough gold to complete this construction.
It's okay. It's alright. There we go. And a decor item or two. We'll pop an iris mainframe in this one, just to make it a little bit more interesting. Look. There we go. Right, we've got our the necessary rooms. Also, I can pop a little bit of decor. Look, I know I'm using decor when I barely have any money. I don't care. This is going to be the way it is. You're just going to have to get used to it. Or not. You don't have to. But this is the way it's going to be. I have standards. Eventually, decor items are actually worth placing. And it isn't just some sort of frivolity. Since some of them help with your minions keeping their morale up, that sort of thing. But right now, it is absolutely 100% frivolity. Not even slightly trying to say that it's necessary. I just like it. However, that being said, we can go ahead and set up the eatery around here. Now, again, we probably will want that about 5 deep. That's 1. So sure, actually we can go ahead and do that. This will give us more than enough to have a decent amount of minions here. Would have been better if we could make it a little larger, wouldn't it? Okay, let's consider shrinking that down then. There we go. And we should be able to just slide these along.
New optional objective.
Actually, let's make it
available.
even smaller. We don't need more than that. And in much the same way, I will pop in a lamp, and a couple of wall seats. It's good to have places for your minions to be able to sit down. If for no other reason than it's a very easy way for you to then tell that you haven't got enough jobs for them. There we go. This gives us room for a little corridor or something that leads to some other important room in that direction. Right, there we go. Now then, with that done, we should hopefully be able to finish off the mess hall tile. But we want to start a side story. Now, in my opinion, there is a certain order to this. Get a technician so you can repair your base. Get a muscle minion so you can defend your base. Get a valet so that they can distract agents a little bit more efficiently. And then finally, go for science. Now, this is the long plan. It does take so much longer to get your base properly set up by doing it in this order, because you literally can't start researching until the very end. But I do feel that this is the more sustainable way of doing it. Right, let's get out there and get a technician.
Are you responsible for the state of this room? Is that computer supposed to be giving off sparks?
Yes, boss. That's how we know it's turned on.
I mean, you're not wrong, I
It
suppose.
looks broken to me. Don't you repair these things?
We try, but it hurts. The sparks, you see.
That is also fair. I mean, you can't argue with this minion's logic.
Kidnap a specialist, interrogate them, find out how to repair these things.
Very well. Right, let's have a look on the world map. Where is there going to be a specialist? Specialist right there. We're halfway through getting this done, but we could just swap over. But we're going to need a fair old chunk of gold for that one, which we're going to definitely want to finish that scheme then in order to get hold of that. Our base as a whole is doing all right for the time being, but we'll see. Collect your rewards in the objectives panel. There we go. There we are. Perfect. Now, what's the next easiest one for us to do? Honestly, I mean, we're slowly working our way towards that. That one will just finish on its own. I guess I'll pop that one on the HUD simply because it'll show me the amount of tiles I'm going to need. But we will get there eventually. We'll have an extra 3,000 to play with. Now, that's going to finish off all of those tiles. Right now, it's not a big concern for us because we don't actually have that many minions yet. But we will eventually. We've got a max capacity of 32 at the moment. Now, are there more agents around? Yes, I thought I heard the...
I need that intruder's attention elsewhere. Find them.
Yacht horn. There we go.
Evil wants you
Is
to
it a special
find this
name
intruder
for the
and
horn
make
on a
them
yacht?
look the other way.
I don't think there is, but there's something nagging at the back of my mind telling me that there might be. If anyone happens to know. Any of the dabblings who owns a private yacht, do let me know if there is a special name for the horn on a yacht. Right, there we go. We've got a little bit more room for our minions down here. I could have a separate door into the power area right there if I really wanted to. Might be something for us to consider. Alternatively, I could have some more room for my minions to have some lockers, and I may want to do that reasonably soon. But we are going to need to get a training room up and running. However, first, let's have a look at what our minions are actually, what they're lacking. Morale, smart, a little bit of low vitality there. Why are you low vitality? Keeps a diary. Okay, nothing there. Fast learners are a really nice one to have. Computer whiz. Okay. Anyone else? Slow learner. That's unfortunate. Let's have a look at some of you. I mean, the beds are fantastic as it restores morale and vitality. But it does not restore smarts. This does restore smarts and vitality. So overall, we've got everything sorted right now. We should be okay in that regard. But it probably wouldn't hurt to have a little bit more. Also, I am definitely going to place down a door in here at this point. Because when the Forces of Justice, if they do manage to get to this point, actually, we're going to pop a door down there as well. There we go. They will be really, really interested in getting in there and having a look. But I don't want them to be able to. Let's pop a door there as well for that reason. It will pull down a little bit of extra power, but it's fine.
To complete this construction.
Right, let's go and complete Optional objective. There we are. Very, very nice indeed. That's the only one we really need to worry about. Getting another computer room would be useful, and certainly we can have a couple of these dotted around. They
My
don't
money's
all need
on
to be
me.
large. Uh-oh.
What is it
Okay.
now?
Well, that is unfortunate. Hopefully, let's go ahead and
Your minions are
pop it into
in
red alert. Really? Well, let's finish it off. What? That is very interesting music. There we go. Okay, we're fine.
High
now.
alert. Cancelled.
That will happen from time to time, especially if the agents are particularly wounded. The traps are super useful because it will prevent the agents from getting too far into the base without me noticing, but it does run the risk. If they keep going through that gauntlet and repeatedly get caught, then it will eventually result in them getting a little bit punch happy. However, we were fortunate there, as it looks like Maximilian didn't take any damage at all. I'm not entirely certain though. Perhaps they start at 250, so that might be something for us to watch. Now, we're gonna need... Yeah, I think definitely the next thing for us to do is get another 3 computers set up and running. Right, let's go ahead and do that. And we'll pop the computer room perhaps down here. And something like this should be fine. Let's have a look. Now,
Not enough gold to
should
complete this construction.
be able to have these relatively
You
close
do not
together.
have enough power to sustain this build order.
That is true. We're going to need another power room for them. Okay, well that's a bit vexing. However, what I could do... We could shift this room across a little bit, just to keep everything nice and symmetrical, because that's 3. And we could have a little doorway leading up there into this room. Yeah, actually, I like that quite a lot. So, cancel that build order, and instead, let's move this room along. Move you. Move you. One of the things I really like about this is it is happy to let you completely redesign an area without causing any disruption. That is a really, really nice feature. Let's move this all the way along there. There we go. If you fill in an area, they'll just happily just mark the furniture as needing to be moved. Or if you completely demolish a room, it'll mark all the furniture inside to be sold, which is particularly nice. So once that's done, we'll get a computer room just about here, I think. Once again, we're going to want a door on this room. Though first I'm going to have to set that up there. There we go. And we will need to set up a new power plant though. But we can get at least one more computer set up in here before then. Now, do I really want them face to face there? Probably not. Instead, I could have them built up like this. I actually think that would look quite nice, and we can have a couple of seats over there, for example. Yeah, I like that one a lot. So we'll set that room up for now. Right, let's have a think of where we're going to put more power. You know what? One of the things I could do is I could simply extend this room. There's no real reason not to just yet. Let's expand that out and drop in another 2 power plants.
Not enough
Yeah, we're going
gold
to
to
draw them
complete
out
this
one more.
construction.
Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to walk around them, and that will vex me horribly. There we go. That should be good. Now, we're currently running with only one incinerator. What I would usually recommend is have a room with maybe 2 incinerators really close to wherever you think you're going to do the most of your killing. So if you've got a nicely set up trap corridor, have a set of incinerators right next to it. But don't make them easy to access and then leave. So don't put them right at the beginning of the trap corridor, because incinerators are extremely hot items, and agents will just have a look at that, gather enough evidence, and then they'll want to leave. So either put it at the end of your trap corridor, or put it about midway way through. So if they do decide to leave after it, they've still got to go through the gauntlet of a bunch of your traps again. Hello. You are both already set to be captured, that's fine. Alright, now then. With cash as it is, we should be okay. We've almost finished this particular job.
Has been triggered.
That's fine, hopefully they'll be dealt with. And, ooh, how much heat does this one cause? Causes quite a lot, so we're going to need to pull the heat down in this location before we run that job. Now, one of the things to just be aware of is playing this without the tutorial. You are going to be a little bit slower getting everything set up, and that's just one of the ways you're going to have to roll with it initially. Thankfully, we do have the double speed to help that out a little bit. Now, this place will just generate a decent amount of income over time. There we are. Now, how much room is on this? We've got... No, we don't really have that much leeway there. Okay, well, we still don't have the money for this one yet. So let's go ahead and start off a reduce heat scheme. There we go. And that will take care of that heat for now. Also setting up our new layer. Our new criminal network. We will immediately get them going and stealing some more money. Let's get that one on the go. This one's got a little while to go yet, but hopefully as some more money filters through, we've got another 20 minutes on this one. We can get these two set up before then. And at that point, we should be doing okay for cash for the foreseeable future. Yeah, nothing seems... So they're just going to leave at this point without too much issue for us. There we are. Let's get another two. Let's get another two computers going. And that should be everything we need. There we go. And on there. And we'll pop down an extra light in each location. There we go. Could I put a wall seat? I could. Am I going to? No. Because I feel that one's going to be a little bit too close. I even feel that one will be a little bit too close. So I will have an Iris mainframe in there, though. There we go. Eventually we'll have another computer set up there. But that'll do okay for now. Now, eventually we're going to want to upgrade our power a lot, because this takes an awful lot of room for what we're getting out of it. But that will take a bit of time to set up. So for the time being, we're good. One of the other things that we can do with a 3-tile area here, you can happily set up a locker room. Oh, another wave of investigators has arrived. Let me go and make sure. Iris, why have you turned my lair into a lair of lies? How dare. But yes, we can just go ahead and... Oh, rather, just wanted to slow it down, didn't want to stop it. We can go ahead and set up a new locker room down here. Now, I think the smallest room you can do this in is... Yeah, you have to have it at least 3, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can't have a 1-tile gap. But if we do this, I should be able to place down a couple of lockers in there. Finding the most bang for buck with the space that we've got. There we go. He says, as he willfully leaves room for some extra gubbins. Shh, it's fine. Our minions actually will never have a reason to go there. They don't actively interact with the lockers. They'll interact with the beds, which is why we made a decent amount of them and made that room proper, but they don't actually interact with the lockers. Just having them is enough. Right, now that we've got all that going, let's get the last 2 areas set up. Scout this one and scout that one, please. And with that done, we should be good. As soon as we got 20k now, we need to get ourselves a technician. What was the heat here? A whimsical director hasn't decided what his next project is going to be, but if we can spread a rumor that it's happening in this region... Thin Burton. That'll divert attention from us for a while, really. We're using Tim Burton movies Thin Burton, to distract the public. I mean, it probably would work, to be honest. Alright, Bree parking. We've been made aware that parking space in this region is ludicrously expensive, so let's construct a megaplex and charge people entry. They won't know it's made of dairy until summer hits. Really? You made a megaplex out of cheese? Oh my lord. It is absolutely worth checking out all of the evil schemes around the map. Though, I really am sad that we don't have the radio announcers. Though those were amazing in the original. I really enjoyed those. It was fantastic. Are you badly hurt? Ooh, you really are. I'm going to need to get you a place to chill out. You're also not going to do much, unfortunately. I wonder if I can tell you to go do something. Let me have a toggle info overlays. No, that's not what I wanted to do. Minion manager. Let's have a look at current job. Eating. Is there any way that I can tell you to do something, I wonder? Select an area to prioritize or toggle off for no priority. I think these are jobs. I can tell them to work as a priority. And you can actually go through here and try and pick out the better minions for things. In fact, looking at that, I've not actually played around with the filters before. Adjust which minion types appear in the listing. Priority filters show only minions with specific priorities. Okay, well, that's interesting. It looks like I might be able to tell them. So, for example, once we've actually got training minions for muscle, pick the people with strong punches. And make sure that they've got a priority to train for muscle. That will, in turn, make sure that we've got the strongest minions in our army. I imagine there's similar kinds of talents which will be useful for various minions in other items. In other areas, rather. Okay. Alright, what have we got over there? No, we don't want to do that one. Well, actually, getting that money a little bit faster would be fine, I suppose. We'll get us 10k really quickly. Or I can get 20k over a much longer time. But now that we've got... now that we're going to have 5 different criminal networks doing it, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. Really, Bree parking again? House of the Shed. No, we're going to go with Bree parking. We will use up our minions a lot less quickly this way by having them working on much longer projects.
A new criminal network has been established.
Okay. U-card. But I would like the other. There we go. Bring the Yurt. An underground fighting ring and a small round tent. Stranger things have happened. That's for sure. Let's place some bets. Very well. Let's get that scheme on the go. And over here, we now need to pull down the heat. Secretly, we're going to start carving large chunks of woodland into pharmaceutical adverts. That's sure to confuse people. One tree pill. Alright. Let's get that one on the go. Now, I find that, especially once you've unlocked a lot of the world map, just generally going through and just telling them to keep the heat down is more than enough. You don't need to do more than that, generally speaking. Alright, a couple of peeps are going to need to pop out and take care of themselves. In a moment, we're going to need to try and manage their needs. But we've got our 20k, so at this point, I'm confident in launching this scheme. We don't need to finish this one off. Now, initially, the first a couple of times I played, I thought it was just giving you a big bulk amount of a resource at the end, or at least if you cancelled it, you would lose whatever you'd gained. But that's absolutely not the case. You can 100% just say, cancel the current scheme in this region and run this one instead. Short fuse. According to the reviews, this electrician has a temper on him, flying into a blind rage at the slightest provocation. Wind him up with prank calls, and when he's at his angriest, he'll fall into your trap. What a cunning endeavour. I agree. Let's get out there. There we go. And that should take care of everything. Donk. Hello, there we are. Everyone heading out to where they need to be. Right, once that's set up, we will be able to get the traps reset a little bit faster as well, which will be a nice side effect. There we go. Now we'll pop down a fire extinguisher there. I would like some fire extinguishers over here as well, especially considering the power room. And I guess having one in this corridor wouldn't hurt either. Let's get those on the go. But now that we've actually built up a bit of cash, there are some rooms that we want to get down, and this is why I've been waiting on getting a lump sum like this. We want specifically the archive or the infirmary. Now, smarts are probably one of the harder ones for us to get going. The infirmary is so energy hungry that I prefer the archive overall. The re-educator only costs 3 power, but the intensive care pod costs 10. So early on, I generally think that the archive is a better place to set up. Now, I don't recall if this one is a particularly hot building, but we're going to go ahead and set up a little room back here. Let's do something like that, and we'll have a look. Okay, that's a 4x4. Well, we could set up 2 of these.
Not enough gold to complete this construction.
Isn't quite large enough, unfortunately. Well, if we move these in, always looking for ways to make areas a little bit more useful for me. We could replace that with 2, this with 2. Yep, that seems to work, and then we can fit in some extra lockers as well. There we are. Always looking for other places to put lockers. Right, with that done, let's go ahead and expand this out for a door. And then we just need to hook this up to a corridor. So something along these lines. You know what? Sure, we'll take it all the way down there and just have that corridor continue on. We'll probably continue to take lockers this entire distance, actually. So let's do that. So that'll get to about there. And once again, pop in some lamps every 2. This one, I guess, can have a chair. I'm not really sure why someone would want to sit there, but they can. That's fine. Either that or I separate it out a little bit. Actually, you know what? The lack of symmetry is going to hurt my brain, so we're going to move it down just 1. Shh, it's fine. It's fine. I agree. We need to make this a little bit better. You can stop twitching now. It's okay. I've made the lack of symmetry go away. The lack of symmetry I created. There we go. Again, we don't need much of a much room down there. We could, in fact, we could move that one around a little bit more, or have another canteen there, or quite a few other buildings can occupy that space. We should be fine. Right. Agents will hopefully be dealt with. Hopefully someone is already moving in to deal with you. Now, if the Forces of Justice only have a certain amount of time here, having a long walk to escort them back is burning more of that time overall, which would be particularly nice. Now, let's go and have a look at what we've got. Hire 6 more minions. Finish scouting Eastern Patriot States. Thank you very much. That was very, very nice. Good bit of extra money right there. Let's have a look at what our base's capacity is. Already up to 50 minions, which is actually quite nice considering our base is so small. Now, that's getting a little bit annoying, but we should be able to deal with it in a moment. Right, let's have a quick gander. Alright, we have completed the task over here. What are we up to? Well, okay then. We don't want to do a 30 heat mission. No. We'll go ahead and Jackson Potluck. A fancy dinner where everyone brings a dish. Way to not spend any money on catering. A fancy artist is hosting this get-together, and mass food poisoning is always fun. Why is that reducing
We
our
have
heat?
captured an intruder.
That doesn't make any sense. Surely that should make people more concerned. Either way, let's get that prisoner into the interrogation chair. Now, what I could do is pop down some training items down here. In fact, that might actually not be a bad idea. There is no particular reason why you can't have multi-purpose rooms. And I think having lockers in these rooms is absolutely fine. Though I do want to do a little bit more work with this one. Right, now we can have some technicians. I would like to have at least 3 on staff at any particular time. There we go. Is that actually everything I needed to do for the side story? Surely not. No. I need to set up a workbench and actually hire them first. But first and foremost, let's go ahead and make sure we've got some decor items in here. Some fancy lamps right around there. Now, as for the room type, we can go ahead and set up a training room. We could even have it as a part of this area with a door just down there if I really want to. And that isn't necessarily the worst idea. Something like that would give us quite a decent bit of room to have a couple of easy training benches set up. For example, we can pop that one in right now. Pop in a blue lamp there. There we go. Maybe even have some extra waiting space while people hang around. Something like this. I'm not sure what stations we'll have over there. Some of them can get quite large. Well, this should be enough for now, I would say. We could make that one a corridor type. Just for the sake of having it look a little bit different. Well, apparently you can't. Apparently we can't. That's an interesting one. Okay, well, let's undo that part then. There we are. We can still have a door going through there, but there's no particular reason to. Doors are just going to make it hard for your minions to move around. Now, later on, you are going to want to have doors at key areas, which is why I've still got a door there. We probably want a door in the prison along those lines. Let's pop a door up right here. There we go. And specifically, you want these to prevent prevent any agents that just jump into the base from being able to just move around freely the whole time. Optional objective complete. Let's go ahead and grab a little bit of extra cash. There we go. Side quests. You've got plenty of junk for your minions to try their hands at fixing. Train some technicians. We need to get 3 of those. Shouldn't take us long. There we go. Technicians are already training. Marvelous. And money continues to flow into our coffers. Okay, not a bad base so far. Where are you?
You're running out of gold.
You're still happy to move around. So it doesn't look like they will go... they'll leave until they've had their resolve completely dropped down. Okay, we definitely need a new spot for power, though. Alright. Well, let's have a gander. We could probably set up a new power room somewhere down here. I would like it to be a different room rather than an extension of the current room, because that one's getting a little bit ungainly at this point. Perhaps we could have the power room somewhere around here. Let's see what we can fit into this room. Now, if we do something like this, it gives us a reasonable amount of room there. We are going to want a double door, though. So let's go ahead and place that down. And have a corridor just branch down and into it. This way we can have a fire extinguisher just against that wall. And a door right in here. There we go. I think that should be fine. Let's confirm that. Alright. I think we've got a fire extinguisher over there. Having a couple of 4 wide corridors, because all traps are 4 wide. Although we can have the corridors 2 wide, it does mean you can't put traps in them as a consequence of that. So in front of important doors and down, having a couple of central corridors here and there, nice and
very
wide.
well.
Right, you need to not be there anymore. And I may actually need to take care of you, because if you go in there, you're going to find things I don't want you to find. And there we are. A new type of minion is now available for training. There we go. Collect reward.
You there,
20
the
grand.
one in the apron.
Thank you very much.
What is it you do around here?
Me? I repair things, prevent breakages, turn things off and on again.
The most powerful tool in any
Oh,
technician's
good.
toolbox.
We need someone to keep the lair in good working order.
Indeed.
If you come across any corpses, just don't turn them back on. I like them that way.
I was quite disappointed. I'm not going to lie. I was pretty disappointed when, although the voice acting is fantastic, exactly the same lines. I would have liked it if the different geniuses had different things to say at these points. That would have been absolutely marvelous in my opinion. Like, you need to not be there, like, really badly. All right, I'm afraid we're going to need a capture order on you then.
As soon as you spot them.
That way we can get them in here. We will get a little bit of extra intel out of them.
What is it now?
Hopefully that can be dealt with fairly soon. I could pop a trap here or there in these other areas. Now, they've probably got enough suspicion.
Won't escape
Yeah.
me.
Easily.
Yes.
And Maximilian, let's not have you get beaten up too badly.
You can
We've got
come with us.
enemies,
You can
got
come
minions
with us.
specifically for that. Oh, you've also got a gun, so please do use that. Let's take them down. There we
At
go.
last,
Now, Maximilian
something
is
good.
losing health
Wunderbar.
and won't recover it unless Maximilian has access to the inner sanctum. Very important one there. Do be aware of that. Don't let your evil genius get too wounded unnecessarily, because you are not going to be able to heal them for a while.
New optional objective.
Right,
available.
okay. Should be getting a good bit of extra power in here, and that is going to take us along the ways. Right, okay. But I think that's enough for the first episode. We've got our first specialist minion available. We've also got an investigator who we can now escort over there and have interrogated for a little bit of early intel. But the next one we're going to be going for is going to be the strength minion. We're going to need a better training room, obviously, to accommodate that, but there's no reason why you can't have them in smaller rooms, just like technicians and scientists over there, for example. Maybe an entire training room just for the muscle minions, because eventually you're going to have lots of different types. But that's going to be it for now. We're in a fairly solid place as far as things go. In terms of our further expansion, we've got no heat problems on the map as is. Once these tasks are complete, we'll just have them pulling down heat for a little while. And generally speaking, the forces of justice don't really consider us much of a threat at all. And that's exactly where we want to be until we've got muscle minions who can deal with the stronger agents that we'll be sending our way. But that is all going to be for the next episode. Now, if you did enjoy this, do let me know down in the comments on this video or with a like, and I will hopefully see you in the next. But until then, and as always, do take care, everyone.